Hello, SICW wrestling fans. Welcome to another SICW Sunday Night Update. I'm joined here with promoter Herb Simmons. And Herb, lots of news.
Yeah, lots of news. We wanted to bring it to everybody tonight on our weekly show, and we appreciate everybody tuning in each and every week to get the latest of what's going on with SICW. But there was a decision made this week that our big show that was scheduled for January the 15th back in the East Crown Lake Community Center is going to be postponed, and we're doing that because of the increase of the COVID numbers that are going on in and around not only our county but the Midwest, around the country actually. But we just thought it was the responsible thing to do for our workers, for our fans, of course, first. We hate it, but we have to put people's safety first. There will live to be more wrestling shows in the future, but right now we want to err on the side of caution. So we canceled that. The TV taping on the 16th we postponed, along with we had the show at the St. Louis History Museum on the 20th of this month on Thursday night. They just notified us today that that was going to be postponed because of the same reason. So our good friends down at Stride Pro Wrestling in Southern Illinois canceled theirs also. So I think it's just great. It shows good responsibility and leadership on putting the fans and the workers first. Just
a short pause.
Yeah.
Get through the end of the month and going to reevaluate and hopefully be back February stronger than ever.
Yeah, that's the thing. And, from what we're being told, that these numbers will level off towards the end of January, and hopefully they're right. And if not, we're just going to play it day by day.
Absolutely, play it day by day. Because when we get to February, a lot of big events coming up in February. One of the things we do want to talk to you about tonight is something we've been talking about the past few weeks, coming up February 5th when SICW returns to the Belle Claire Fairgrounds. A great fundraiser going to happen that night for French Village Fire Chief and Rock Community Battalion Chief Al LaPointe. A great fundraiser from him, dealing with some medical issues, and definitely something. All the SICW locker room has come together, going to work that show and do everything they can to help bring wrestling back for a good fundraiser there.
Great fundraiser. As you know, we've been going around talking to a few of the chiefs and kind of getting their insights on their friendship with Chief LaPointe, and I think we got a clip we're going to play tonight.
Absolutely. Let's take a look here when Promoter Simmons caught up with Signal Hill Fire Chief and President of the Mutual Aid Division, Chief Tom Elliff.
Good afternoon. I'm Herb Simmons, coming to you this afternoon here at the Signal Hill Fire Department. We're going to be doing some of these impromptu interviews with some of our local fire chiefs on a very important fundraiser that we have coming up for one of our fellow fire chiefs. And today I'm joined with Fire Chief Tom Elliff of the Signal Hill Fire Department. Tom, thanks for letting us come in today. We've got a big, important I've been advertising it as probably the most important fundraiser that we're going to be doing in 2022 for our good friend Chief LaPointe.
Yep, and hopefully it's a success, and we're getting a lot of participation that night, and I couldn't think of a better guy that this is going to be for than Al LaPointe. Al has been in the fire service here in St. Clair County for a long time, and if you got anybody you want to rely on, you rely on Al, and he gets the job done for you.
And for those of you who maybe you're just starting to join us following this, that don't know, Chief LaPointe is the fire chief of the French Village Fire Department here in St. Clair County, and also is a battalion chief in Rock Community, Missouri. So we're getting assistance from both sides of the river. As you heard Chief Tom Elliff say, Chief LaPointe has been in the industry for a long time. You've known him for about how long, Chief?
I was thinking about that earlier. I'd have to go back and even try and find, but somewhere, I'm guessing either late 80s or early 90s, whenever he kind of started down at French Village and I had started here, and we had some classes together, and we had both just worked our way up to now being chiefs and working together on a different level.
Well, and just so you viewers understand, Chief LaPointe is going through some very serious medical issues, and we want to try to assist him and his family. And I think it's worth saying that when we first came up with this idea, we got the family's approval at first. His wife and them said, no, we'll be okay. But we all know that there's going to be those unexpected expenses that's going to come up, and so anything we can do to help ease in that load a little bit, I think is going to be a help.
Sure, and I was talking to Al just last week, and he's planning on going back to work here, sounds like within a couple months, once he's off a short-term disability. Everything's going good right now.
Good.
And so that was a thought of how does the fundraiser change, or does it have to change? And I don't think it has to change. While things are going good now, we don't know what the future holds for Al.
Exactly.
And maybe the whatever is raised with this fundraiser, it's able to help pay bills down the road that they need, or help pay some medical costs, or maybe it's just gonna pay for a trip that him and his family would like to take together. Someplace that they've never been able to get to, that was always on the wish list, and this is what's gonna get them there. And if we can offer that to him and his family, we're doing the right thing.
Well, and as you know, you've been in this industry a long time, and the brotherhood that comes along in the firefighters, all the men and women, it is a brotherhood that are strong, and so everybody is stepping up to the plate to help Alfie, as we all call him.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's good to know that he's doing a little bit better, but as you said, you know, life is a very strange thing. It could be good today and bad tomorrow. And so the fundraiser is set for February the 5th at the Belclair Fairgrounds in Belleville, Illinois. There will be a professional wrestling match there. All the SICW staff is contributing, donating their time, energy for this. A lot of the men and women in the fire industry are stepping up. You can go to SICW.org, or they can contact Chief Elf, or how can they get the tickets?
Contact me, email shfd117@aol.com, or call my cell phone, 618-531-7653. I can certainly get you the tickets. The information is out to the fire service, both in St. Clair, Monroe counties, as well as our folks over in Missouri. You get a hold of the fire chief and ask him about the Owl Point fundraiser. They're gonna get you in touch with somebody to get you tickets. You guys also set up an event on Facebook, so you can also go to Facebook and get the information there on how to get a hold of some tickets and how to register.
Right. And not only is this going to be a fundraiser, we're trying to get a lot of the fire apparatus there to be on display at the Belclair Fairgrounds that afternoon. So it's going to be a family event. Come out, check out some of the fire apparatus that St. Clair County has to offer, and then also help a good cause, help Chief Al Lapointe of the French Village Fire Department and the Rock Community Fire Department get it a little bit better in this medical issue that he's having. And we can all come out, have a good time, and it make you feel good, because these men and women in our fire industry are out there when we need them every day. They're on call 24/7, and Chief Lapointe has been one of those men from the very first day he put that bunker gear on, and he hasn't let up on it. So don't forget, February 5th, Belclair Fairgrounds in Belleville, Illinois, fundraiser for Chief Al Lapointe. If you got any questions, just hit us up here, and we'll put you in touch with the right people. Thank you very much.
Let's fill the building.
Herb, a great interview. Sounds like great friends. Been working together for quite a long time.
Well, you have to search high and low and far and between to find anybody that don't like Chief Al Lapointe, Alfie as we call him. Just a great guy that has done so much for so many people ever since he put his first set of bunker gear on. He's always there. His brotherhood of the firefighters, the men and women, they all like him. Gets along with everybody, and it's just a shame he's going through these medical issues right now. We wish him the well, but as we said when we came up with this fundraiser, we want to make it easier on him and his family because we know there's going to be some unexpected expenses out there that insurance may not cover, and we want his prognosis to be good, but this is life, and when we first got involved, it was really a gloom and doom, and it has got better. But we're still going to go with this fundraiser, and people the first responders are coming up with it.
Absolutely. First responders working long and hard to put this together. They're going to have a fire apparatus display there at the Belclair Fairgrounds starting at 5 p.m., where there'll be fire trucks from throughout the Metro East over into Missouri that are going to be coming along to display their apparatus, allow those not only coming to see the wrestling match, to get to see up close and personal what some of the great tools of the trade are that exist from our firefighting communities here in the area. Also that night they're putting together a silent auction, so those that are attending can raffle off certain different items that they're going to have there. A great night of wrestling. There's an advertisement book that's going together, and all this, many things that are available to help support Chief LaPointe. Tickets are available now. They're on SICW.org. Click on there, get your tickets. You can purchase tickets. You can purchase sponsorships. Lots of opportunities that you could step up and help the great first responders here of our community.
Well, and it makes you feel good to know, because these men and women, these firefighters, are out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're there anytime that call comes in. They leave their families and their friends. They leave the social events they may be at. I can't tell you how many of them leave their children's ball games, basketball games, when they get that call, that pager goes off, and they run into the firehouse, and then they come to whatever needs to be done. So this is a chance for all of us to step up to the plate and help one of these young men through his crisis, and help and make it just a little bit easier on him.
Absolutely. And Herb, as you've talked about, going to take a slight pause here from the live wrestling. So in stopping the taping, we're still going to be here every Sunday night. Every Sunday night, 8 o'clock, we're going to be here, starting with tonight, bringing some classic wrestling footage.
Well, we've got a bunch of footage that we can show,
Lots of
and so
footage.
we're going to start tonight and take you back in time to some of the good old classic wrestling at the Chase video, and I think you'll enjoy what we picked for tonight.
Absolutely. So fans, we thank you for being here with us each and every Sunday night at 8 o'clock when we bring you the SICW Sunday Night Update. We will still be here Sunday night at 8. And until next week, when we see you back here, take a look at this great classic wrestling to show the memories that we're keeping alive today.
The first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Introducing from Wellington, New Zealand, weighing 237 pounds, former world's heavyweight champion, Pat O'Connor. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 245 pounds, Nature Boy Ric Flair. Referee Charles Vanetta.
A lot of eyes in the wrestling world are on this one. Pat O'Connor against Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair removing still another gaudy road from his collection. I'd like to see this guy's closets. He must have a dozen closets in his house. He's made us for the robes.
I just want to get the clothes that they have these clothing drives on.
Yeah, we'd like to take what he gives away to Goodwill.
You better believe it, Goodwill comes after me.
What's time on it?
Nature Boy Ric Flair against former world champion Pat O'Connor. O'Connor sidesteps Flair, and Flair is pushed to the ropes, and Pat O'Connor does a little strut for the Nature Boy. Well, Mr. O'Connor knows a thing or two about ring psychology, and if Flair thinks he can fluster O'Connor, well, he better give it another thought. O'Connor steps aside, arm drag by O'Connor. You gotta give Nature Boy Ric Flair credit, boy. Frying pan into the fire. A tough one today in Pat O'Connor. Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase coming up. Flair could really be on top of the world, or he'd be knocked right down that ladder several rungs. Pat O'Connor and then Missouri State champion Ted DiBiase. A best of three falls duel. The Missouri State title on the line, but more than that, and as valuable as the Missouri title is, there still is something that maybe means just a hair more, and the man who comes out on top when Flair and DiBiase are done may be the next logical contender for the World Heavyweight Championship belonging to Harley Race. Remember that Flair and Race went to a spectacular one-hour draw. They battered each other, and when the final bell sounded, it was Flair who had just scored with a suplex on Race. Each man had earlier taken a fall. Flair with a figure four leg lock, Race with an inside cradle. Flair tosses O'Connor to the ropes. Flying tackle levels Flair. Arm drag, and O'Connor looks sharp today. Flair gets that shoulder up. So when Flair and Race met, the match was a one-hour stalemate. When Race and DiBiase met, do you remember that one? A bizarre, controversial duel. Harley Race lost. by disqualification, though, so Race kept the world title and gold belt. But what happened in the third fall of that match will long be remembered in St. Louis wrestling annals. The referee, Charles Venator, was accidentally knocked out of the ring when DiBiase hit him with a flying tackle. While Venator was down on the floor, Race intentionally threw DiBiase over the top rope. Venator, who was trying to regain his bearings out on the floor, saw it happen. He was nearly clobbered when DiBiase went over that top rope and nearly landed on top of Venator. Flair trying to hip toss O'Connor. O'Connor blocking it nicely. Again, the hip toss blocked by O'Connor. Arm drag by O'Connor. And back to that Race and DiBiase affair. While the referee was outside the ring, and after DiBiase had been pitched over the top rope, DiBiase got back into that ring. Race tried a suplex. DiBiase slipped away, scored with a back suplex, and referee Lee Warren, who had run down to ringside to aid Venator, saw that Race's shoulders were down, and Warren counted 3 on the world champion. It looked to everybody as though Ted DiBiase was the new world champion. But it wasn't to be, because just as Warren counted 3, Venator was up on his feet calling for the bell to disqualify Race for throwing DiBiase over the top rope. No question, it was the right call, and Ted DiBiase himself admitted it. But what a bitter disappointment it was for DiBiase. He thought the gold belt was his, but it wasn't to be. Race still has that gold belt. DiBiase nearly took it away. Flair nearly took it away. What more logical matchup could there be than Flair against DiBiase, the best of 3 falls? Don't forget that Flair, in the only 2 times he has met DiBiase before, has beaten him. So DiBiase has that extra added pressure. Does Flair have the number of Ted DiBiase? Flying tackle by Pat O'Connor. Flair ducks underneath. Oh, Flair tried a hip toss. O'Connor blocks it. Spins Flair around. Backslide. Nice move by the former world champion. Count of 1. And Flair manages to slide his arm out of the backslide. And Flair steps outside the ring. He's got to think about this a little bit, because Pat O'Connor has obviously come loaded for bear.
This is the kind of treatment I get in St. Louis, pulling my hair.
Ric Flair complaining that his hair was pulled about the treatment he gets here. Okay, Flair's arguing and complaining, but maybe he has a little ulterior motive here. He's been thrown off balance by Pat O'Connor in the first few minutes of this match. He needs to more or less realign himself with what he's doing to think his strategy through, and he's bought some time right now by arguing with the referee and with us.
5 minutes have elapsed, 15 minutes left.
O'Connor and Flair lock up. Flair twists that arm. He's a little happier now. Oh, O'Connor breaks the grip. Down goes Flair. O'Connor with the arm bar on Flair, and Flair becoming angry at his inability to keep a hold on former world champion Pat O'Connor. O'Connor knows what it's all about. O'Connor knows everything there is to know about what happens inside that ring. Don't forget, he had the gold belt for 2 years, for 2+ years. He knows about the pressure of the big matches, and he'd like one more crack at the World Heavyweight Championship. Don't you think that if Pat O'Connor could knock off Nature Boy Ric Flair right here, that he would be in line for a crack at Harley Race and the gold belt? O'Connor knows it. He is primed. He is ready. Flying tackle. Oh, Flair catches O'Connor with an elbow smash. That one shook Pat O'Connor. Flair grabs O'Connor by the chin, lifting him to the air. A chop to the chest, trying to knock the wind out of Pat O'Connor. A knee lift right into the solar plexus, and then a front face lock by Nature Boy Ric Flair on Pat O'Connor. That forearm bone right against the jaw of O'Connor, perfectly applied by Nature Boy Ric Flair. He knows how to hurt people, believe me. The day he has to hurt O'Connor, and he still has Ted DiBiase to contend with too if he intends to get back at Harley Race. Flair's not without his supporters. Don't kid yourself about that. There are a lot of people who like Nature Boy Ric Flair, who cheer for him. And when Flair and Race were going at it hot and heavy, I think that crowd was about 50-50 as to who they were cheering for. Flair doing everything he can to jerk that neck, to stretch out the neck of Pat O'Connor. Flair cinching it up tight, hooking the arm, trying to roll O'Connor onto his back, get him onto the shoulders. Flair leaning into it, putting his full 245 pounds against the arms and the neck of O'Connor. Trying to get O'Connor down. Referee Charles Venator right on top of it, trying to look in there. O'Connor, though, keeps balance. Even in a hold, Pat keeps those legs spread apart, the knees apart for extra leverage. He lifts himself up. Flair twisting the head. Low suplex by O'Connor. Oh, he bounced him. But Flair takes the jolt and keeps the front face lock on Pat O'Connor. Flair twisting that head. Venator checking the throat. It's clear, and Flair yelling some abuse at O'Connor. You want to be a big man? Flair trying to force O'Connor down. O'Connor takes a knee drop to the back of the head. A knee drop to the back of O'Connor's head by Nature Boy Ric Flair. Come on, baby doll, says Ric Flair. He's feeling more confident now. Those first 5 minutes belonged to O'Connor. But now with Flair concentrating the attack on the neck of O'Connor, on the head of O'Connor, Flair seems to have taken charge. O'Connor hooks the head of Flair. Maybe he can reverse the hold, come up with a front face lock of his own. Pat has a lot of strength in those forearms and biceps. Do you ever feel that guy's grip? Mickey, did you ever grab him by the arm? You know, he's been talking to him, just grab a guy's arm like you do sometime. Boy, he's like steel cables. Pat O'Connor has tremendous power in his grip. So Flair better be careful to keep the balance.
The only thing I'm interested in is how his grip is on his wallet. That's the only thing I worry about being a waiter. You know what I mean, Larry?
You're worried about Pat's grip on his... How is his grip on his wallet?
Very good.
Very good. He has a good grip on his wallet.
He signed Sam Mutchick's name to all the checks.
Oh, an elbow smash to the head by Flair, and then he hooks O'Connor with that front face lock again.
The man has really got a grip. There's no doubt about it.
Well, he's a good tipper, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Pat?
All wrestlers are. I think they are the top tippers. And
I would think Ric Flair might be the best. I know he goes out somewhere to a fancy restaurant or somewhere to eat. He goes for the finest. Doesn't kid about it. Comes to town, makes sure he has a limousine waiting for him. Remember once he had to go back to Minneapolis, his hometown, for the wedding of a good friend of his. He had to wrestle that night, so he chartered his own jet to go from Charlotte, North Carolina to Minneapolis, had the jet wait for him at the airport in Minneapolis, went to the wedding, attended the reception briefly, then flew back to Charlotte, North Carolina for a main event that night, and won. That's Ric Flair. He does it with style, my friends.
That's what you call a classy guy.
Forearm smash by Nature Boy Ric Flair. He pounds on Pat O'Connor. O'Connor pulled out to the center of the ring, and once more the front face lock.
10 minutes have expired, 10 minutes left.
Flair keeps his shoulders up as O'Connor tried to cradle him, but just couldn't get that leg. O'Connor underneath again for that low suplex. O'Connor pulls his head out. The head is free. That low suplex finally did the job. O'Connor spins Flair, trying to go for that backslide. It nearly worked before. Flair struggling against it. He's finally forced down. Lifts the arm right out, though. It was worth a try. It almost worked before. No question about that. Flair with a forearm smash. O'Connor with one. Flair and O'Connor. O'Connor hooks Flair, and both men go tumbling over the top rope and outside the ring. Flair and O'Connor both outside the ring. A heavy spill over that top rope. Neither man really in control of his body. They both went tumbling over the ropes. An elbow smash to the head by Flair. O'Connor pulls Flair back down and slams O'Connor into the ring apron. O'Connor trying to get back into the ring after slamming Flair into the apron. O'Connor reaches out for Flair, but it's Flair who grabs O'Connor, and Flair has O'Connor outside the ring and jams his knee into the steel ring post. Ric Flair jamming the knee of Pat O'Connor into the steel ring post. Flair ramming that knee into the post. Oh, Flair spotted an opening, and he's just like a shark going after blood. Flair punishing that leg around the ring post, and Pat O'Connor walked right into trouble there as Flair grabbed O'Connor and slammed that knee twice and then twisted it around the ring post. Flair punishing the leg of Pat O'Connor, spins it around the toe, going for the figure four leg lock. O'Connor breaks it, pulls that forward, try for a pin, but the legs of Flair are free, could not be cradled. Flair going for that leg again, trying to go for the injured leg of Pat O'Connor. O'Connor trying to keep his balance. O'Connor seeing a wound on Flair's forehead, begins to pound on the head of Flair. And Flair bleeding from an earlier wound that had been opened in a match. The head of Ric Flair opened up by Pat O'Connor. O'Connor pounding on the bloody head of Nature Boy Ric Flair. O'Connor's knee is hurt. He knew he was in trouble and he went right for the head of Flair. Flair bleeding, the blood pouring through the blonde hair of Nature Boy Ric Flair. Something else that Ted DiBiase can attack, maybe, but more importantly, it's something that Pat O'Connor, who's still favoring that leg, can attack. Flair, the blood streaming down his head. There's the sleeper! The sleeper by Pat O'Connor on Nature Boy Ric Flair. Flair bleeding and trapped in the sleeper. Oh, both men go flying over that top rope again as O'Connor and Flair went to the ropes. Flair, the blood pouring off his head. O'Connor, oh, he almost lost his balance when he got up with that bad knee. Flair misses a punch. O'Connor with the sleeper outside the ring. The sleeper outside the ring. O'Connor and Flair. O'Connor with the sleeper. Oh, O'Connor jammed backwards. O'Connor jammed backwards into the steel ring post. The bloody Ric Flair. He's going for the figure four. Flair with a figure four on O'Connor outside the ring. The bloody Ric Flair with the figure four on Pat O'Connor outside the ring. The referee counting on both men. He's up to 15, 16, both men being counted on. Flair, the blood streaming down his face. The count's up to 19. Flair's in the ring. O'Connor with the injured knee is outside the ring. And Nature Boy Ric Flair has the victory. O'Connor counted out outside the ring. O'Connor has been injured, slammed backwards into the steel ring post, and then Flair applying the figure four leg lock outside the ring. O'Connor has been hurt. He can't straighten that leg out, and Ric Flair, even bleeding, had what it takes to come up with a victory. Let's hear from Mickey.
13 minutes and 40 seconds. Referee Charles Meneses counts out Pat O'Connor, the winner, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
When opportunity knocked, Ric Flair opened the door. In slow motion, let's watch. There's O'Connor with the sleeper hold on Flair outside the ring. O'Connor with the sleeper on Flair, trying to put Ric Flair away. Flair trying to lean into O'Connor, put his body weight against O'Connor. Suddenly, he shoves O'Connor back and slams O'Connor backward, the back of his head cracking against that steel ring post. Also, his back taking the jolt. O'Connor, the sleeper hold broken as the two battled outside the ring. O'Connor falling forward. The bloodied Ric Flair realizing now what he has done to Pat O'Connor. Flair sees those legs out, knows that O'Connor's knee has been injured, and outside the ring, Flair goes for the figure four leg lock and pours on the pressure on Pat O'Connor's injured leg. O'Connor had to be carried out of the studio. From there, Flair managed to beat the count back into the ring. O'Connor did not, and Nature Boy Ric Flair, who's with us now, was the winner. Rick, I guess you take victory in any form it comes.
Hey, when all my ladies are lined up all over the world, and I walk up to them, or I should say they walk up to me, they don't say, Nature Boy, woo! How did you win the match? They just want to know if I won.